dare la parola ai giovani, dare spazio ai giovani, significa anche farsi sorprendere.
È perché il cambiamento non può essere un cambiamento solo individuale, di consumo, ma deve essere un cambiamento collettivo.
Non può esistere senza la partecipazione della cittadinanza.
Lo vediamo già in futuro, le strade sono piene di ragazzi che chiaramente fanno delle richieste ben precise.
Scuole di attivismo, azioni di strada. Foodwave è un progetto che coinvolge diverse città, 16 paesi.
I giovani come noi hanno un ruolo fondamentale per la transizione sostenibile.
E all'interno di questo contenitore di idee grandi e urgenti proviamo a riflettere su come rendere sempre più inclusiva la discussione su sistemi di cibo più etici e sostenibili.
E abbiamo intervistato moltissimi e moltissime attivisti e attiviste.
Quanti di voi conoscono la food policy, cioè sanno cosa sia la politica alimentare del Comune di Milano?
È molto importante l'apporto che i giovani hanno dato alla battaglia ecologica, giovani agricoltori che arrivano alla terra.
Il ruolo del giornalista è comunque fondamentale.
Racconto le scelte che faccio, che sono scelte a tutto spettro sostenibili. Tutti ne risentiamo, l'impatto è per tutti.
Essere consapevoli e non indifferenti.
Forse impattare un po' di meno.
Ci occupiamo di promuovere il consumo critico e gli stili di vita sostenibili.
Más pronunciada entre la vida ambiental y humana.
Nos han anestesiado y cada vez somos menos conscientes de nuestra ecodependencia para sostener nuestras vidas. Somos porque lo naturalizáis.
Yo soy Ariel. Hi everyone, welcome.
Con impegno e determinazione le battaglie si riescono a vincere, quindi volevamo anche lanciare questo messaggio a tutti.
Riscopri che cosa vuol dire essere cittadino, possiamo unirci per far vedere che l'opinione pubblica va in quella direzione.
Chiedere ai governi di mettere in prima linea nella lotta ai cambiamenti climatici proprio il sistema alimentare.
E sviluppare attività di coinvolgimento delle comunità che possano accompagnare questa transizione ecologica con una transizione anche culturale.
Un ponte per tutta una serie di contenuti che attengono alla sostenibilità.
E cosa fa l'arte in questo? Ci racconta delle storie, ci dice qualcosa e quindi noi raccontando storie, facendo dialogare persone, magari apriremo questi scorci.
Hi everyone, this is Carlo Venegoni from Cura Association, and together with Lucrezia Cipitelli from Rera Art Academy, we are moderating this first session of the public program of Foodwave. His name is Voices, Stories and Opportunities from the Foodwave project. For those of you who still don't know what Foodwave is, here a first and brief introduction. Foodwave is a European project funded by the European Commission with the aim to create and foster innovative alliance between local authorities, not-profit organizations, and young people for a greener, more inclusive, and more sustainable future for cities. The keywords that you just heard in the video, in the very nice video we saw, are activism, citizen engagement, public space, art, agroecology, rural and urban communities, individual responsibility. And the focus of some of the projects that we will present today are lifestyle and food habits and their potential to change and to bring to collective intervention which are crucial to mitigate the climate change we are living. Foodwave aggregates 16 cities and around the world and 13 civil society organizations. To know more about Foodwave, just go on the website www.foodwave.eu or follow the hashtags Foodwave and Catch the Wave. 2 years has passed from the starting, from the kickoff of the project. And it's now time to share updates and good practices. That's the sense of having this coordination meeting during 3 days from today till the 17th of February. And this first meeting online is the opportunity to share with you, so with the public audience, 7 different projects from organizations based in 5 different countries. They are all very different in scale and complexity. There are newly, freshly formed an association and very established and long-lasting groups in charge for substantial facilities for the life of cities where they operate. Before inviting the first of these speakers, I would like to invite you to interact with us. We are now online on Facebook, on YouTube, and on our website. So use the comments in order to pose questions to us and to the different spokesperson, in order to having a real and an actual exchange during this hour and a half. So Lucrezia, what?
Yeah. Thanks, Carlo. I follow up just introducing Nabil Shahour. Mar de Tierras is an organization from Madrid, set up in 2010 by people working in environmental and social sphere. Mar de Tierras wants to unite people around the idea that other model exists, other model of coexistence and way of living, and other ways to live politics and daily life, basically. Nabil will introduce, is the project coordinator of the of a project sustained by Food Wave, and is a project focused on sustainable mobility, which is linked to sustainable food consumption. The project is named Zero Waste Bike Challenge, and is a trip in a rural area outside Madrid. So we'd like to hear from it. Nabil, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, thanks for the opportunity to be here, and thanks to Foodwave and all the organizers that make it possible. So thank you very much. Should we start with any question, or do you prefer to start with the general explanation?
6 minutes, and it would be lovely if you can introduce the project to us, because not everybody know about it, and then we will follow up with a question for you.
Okay, so as you told to the people, we are an environmental education association. We work with all the items related to environment. So this was a big opportunity to work in this field, which is the food, sustainable food, security, sustainable transportation, food waste, and all these things. Instead of offer a course to make people aware about all these things, we decided to give it the experience. So we decided to visit local producers, to see how they work, to see where the food comes from, and to present alternative models to the industrial production of food. So we did all these things by bicycle. We decided to ride our bikes during 6 days, visiting all these interesting projects that contributes to local production and all these things we were talking about. and it was very nice experience for the participants. We were like 20 people for 6 days around the community of Madrid, and yes, that was the project. After that, we organized workshops to present the project and to give to know to the general public the results of this trip, and it was very enrichment for everyone.
Nabil, do you have a video for us?
Yes, we have a video. I think it's available. Francesca, I don't know.
Okay, Francesca is launching the video from our team hidden behind the stage, but maybe there are
I'm not sure if it's played completely or it was.
No, I think so, Nabil. There was a problem in the video, and the video is lasting 4 minutes, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe we can start once again to try to see it entirely. Francesca can help us, I know.
Yeah, in this video we can see all the process from the beginning to the end. And sometimes they say it's better an imagine than 1,000 of words.
Nabil, I pose you a question just while waiting for the video. How does the engagement of the young people with you evolved through the time during this trip around Madrid?
The first thing we made a big meeting to explain the objectives of the project, but we decided all the organization all together. We wanted everyone to be part of the organization, of the decisions, and of course they have to be in the line of the objectives. And during the project, during the travel, everyone was very aware about all these things. In fact, they were adding new ideas, new ways to, for example, to get the zero waste objective, and they offer, they give to us ideas about visiting local producers, because they also knew people and initiatives related to the project. So it was organized all together. And after the project, they decided to continue with the idea, and we know that they have been participating in workshops and in training courses about environment, about mm, sustainability. And now we are in contact with them, and they are spreading all these ideas. We know about all these courses they are participating, and we are very happy for this, because we put in a seed into them, and this seed is growing.
Okay, nice. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nabil. We have the dictatorship of time, and we also knew that you had to leave earlier, so we should actually pass the mic to the next group. And before I wanted just to remind you that, well, our idea is that we do a first tour of presentation and then a second round with questions. We asked Nabil something more now because we knew that you're unfortunately not staying with us all the time.
Yes,
But we will meet during the next months or year, hopefully, for the second round of Food Wave.
yeah. Hope next time we will be more available for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Keep everybody of us updated with the projects.
Thank you.
And with the community. So thanks so much. And I have the duty of introducing the second participant, which is Re-London with Ariel Vetro. Just few words about Re-London. It was called in the past London Waste and Recycling Board, and is a partnership of the Mayor of London and London boroughs to improve waste and resource management. They transform, as they say, the way we create, consume and dispose of stuff, drastically reducing our CO2 emissions and protecting our future by enabling London to become a circular economy sooner. So, Re-London with Ariel will present the project, What the Fork London, which is a digital communication action on social media, which Food Wave supported. So we welcome Ariel. Hopefully.
There's technical problems. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hello, Ariel.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, both.
Yes.
How are you?
Very fine, thanks.
I'm good. I'm excited to have a chat. Hopefully, no more technical issues. So, but fingers crossed.
I hope so too.
Everything worked. So we leave you the stage, and if you have anything to show,
I do. Can you see my presentation? Can you see my screen?
No,
Not at
now.
the moment. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it's gone. Wonderful.
Okay, perfect.
Ariel, go on.
Great.
So the stage is yours. You have 6
Thank
minutes.
I'm timing myself. So hi, everyone. I hope you are having a good evening and enjoying the event so far. My name is Ariel, and as was said, I work for Re-London, which is an organization that's a partnership of the Mayor of London's office and all of the boroughs or councils of London. We've implemented some pretty exciting stuff in the past year and have even more in store for the year ahead. But there's one particular activity we wanted to sort of dive into in greater detail today, and that is our digital campaign. So, for a bit of background, we commissioned an agency called Brand Ethos to recruit young artists to design a digital campaign all about food waste. So, Brand Ethos created this sort of initial stimulus material and then presented these at a hackathon for a group of design students. So, for anyone who's unfamiliar about what a hackathon is, essentially it's a sort of format or structure where you bring a group of people together, present them with a problem or a challenge, maybe give a bit of context or background, and then sort of leave them to their own devices. So that could be 2 hours or 2 days. And you kind of let them brainstorm and throw ideas about. And then by the end of the session, they come with a bunch of ideas or solutions to the aforementioned problem. So that's what we did here. It was super great, really fruitful, lots of great and creative suggestions and ideas coming in. And then along with Brand Ethos, we picked 3 young designers who won the hackathon and would go on to sort of build out the rest of this campaign. So the campaign itself, the young designers sort of honed in on 2 particular threads. The first one being the sort of inherent life or value of different foods. So food has a life too is a slogan that you'll see come up again and again in our campaign. And the other sort of prong or thread is about the potential monetary savings if food is not wasted. For example, in the UK, in terms of household food waste, if you look at the stat, it's the same as basically taking 1 in every 5 grocery bags and just throwing it straight into the bin. So that visualizing that is quite helpful just to indicate the magnitude of how much we're wasting. And then you can kind of see how much we're wasting, not only in terms of resources and the effect on the planet, but also just in terms of your own personal kind of money and finances. So we decided to launch this Instagram account called What the Fork London. I know it is the cheekiest name, but we love it. And we think it suits kind of the tone we're after. So we set this up to share all of the assets and the materials that were designed from the campaign. And also for us, and this is going to be a real priority for the year ahead, is we want to sort of make this an online destination, really establish it as a community of young people who want to tackle climate change and do that through the lens of food. So that's going to be a real priority for us in this year ahead. So here are the beautiful designs. I've kind of separated them out actually by the artist. So you can see there, those are their social media handles. I would really recommend checking them out. They're ridiculously talented people, and we're so excited that they decided to work with us. So you can see, like, stylistically, they're each distinct and quite unique, but sort of these threads of life or food having this sort of life and value is woven throughout. But you can see all of the assets and more on our Instagram account. So in terms of insights from the campaign, it's kind of hard to distill, what was the most effective or, what we wanted to really share. So I've just talked about 3 key ones. And the first one is about this hackathon format. We have found it just especially useful and fruitful. I think it encourages and stimulates creativity in a way that seemed quite special. The sort of competitive atmosphere, especially if a prize or something is involved, it does provide a really powerful and productive incentive in a way. And of course, after the couple years we've had that have been extremely isolating and lonely for many, bringing people together and having just that energy and bouncing ideas off each other is quite special. So much so that for some of our future events we have planned for Food Wave, we're actually going to be doing a sort of a pre-hackathon as well, because we love how that format works. Now, the second point, and this will be sort of old news to many of our Food Wave partners who've been doing this work alongside us, but we just wanted to hone in on sort of the importance of co-designing. This campaign in particular was about, it needed to resonate with youth. And that means you need to have those voices in the room at the table, crafting and helping to inform and shape that narrative. For us, this campaign, we wouldn't have arrived at these really particular threads or themes without the young artists' input. And so it's just another great reminder of just how important it is, to sort of think beyond the sort of top-down kind of lecture style or, that sort of approach, and think more creatively and sort of acknowledge the benefits of a more cooperative, co-designing process that starts from the ground up. And finally, the third point that I wanted to share is just about generalizability. So obviously, like this asset here, for example, it is specific in some ways to London and the UK context. And that's important because, all of us are in different cities and different communities. And there's a kind of, a cultural and a geographic specificity that's required to communicate with the people you want to communicate with. But at the same time, we're working with an amazing, brilliant network of people, sort of, despite our differences, are all united overall in this message. And so we wanted to create assets and materials and content that still could be shared. So we had Francesca and the communications team from Milan asked to be using our assets on the Food Wave main social media platforms. And we want to see more of that, more of exchange, creating ideas and solutions that can be shared and exchanged with other partners, so that we're leveraging each other's networks and sort of just fostering that collaboration, because it's quite a special environment that we're in to be working with so many people. And so I think that really was a key aim of what we did here and what we hope to do in the future. So I'm actually going to hand it back to Francesca now, because obviously we couldn't have any of our designers join us this evening, unfortunately, but we did have one of them. Her name is Navpreet. These are the assets she created, and she sent us a little video message and hello. So I am going to pass it over to Francesca now, and for listening, and please drop me a line if you have any questions.
Hi, I'm Navpreet Singh. I'm 23 years old and I'm one of the designers for the What the Fork online campaign. Some positives that come about from the project is that I've learned more about the link between climate change and food waste. So I eat everything on my plate now and I'm always full. Also, the whole experience with working closely with Brand Ethos and other designers was quite empowering and uplifting and fun. You can check out more of our work on the What the Fork Instagram account and see our wonderful posts that we've created. You can see my design Instagram handle as well underneath the post that I've created, which is nav.designy, and you can watch more of me on Sky Arts, the Big Design Challenge, where I'm working with 7 other designers on 5 different briefs.
Thanks a lot, Ariel, and very congratulations for this campaign. It's really wonderful. And what's really nice, it's also your attitude to share what you've done with all the network of Food Wave.
Thanks. Yeah, we're really excited that it felt like it could, sort of bridge the gap. We're really interested in sort of fostering that sort of collaboration, and we're hoping to do that with other events in the future.
Yeah, and dealing the next future, do you have already any other project in mind for the continuation of Food Wave?
So we have a big street action planned. We're going to be doing another hackathon, so that same format, bringing, I think, 100 university students together in a room and sort of getting them to brainstorm about how could we stop people in the middle of the street, essentially, and get them to care about a topic that a lot of people, don't have a vested interest in to begin with. So we're hoping that we're going to rely on the brilliant ideas and also competitive nature of the hackathon to hopefully bring some creative suggestions to our next Food Wave activity.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to get news about this new hackathon.
Yeah,
Lucrezia,
we will share.
Lucrezia, do you have any question for Ariel?
I think we may get back to Ariel later, and we may give some stage to the others who are waiting for us. And I think it's you, Carlo, that will introduce our next.
Yeah, the next one, the Metropolitan Agency of Brazil.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we have Alina Nicoara. The Metropolitan Agency for Sustainable Development of Brazil is an associative body of public authorities from 15 local communities. is based in Romania, and since its beginning, it has been empowered by the mayors of the members' local communities to initiate the necessary measure for realization of an integrated transport system at metropolitan level. For Foodwave, the ambassador of the Metropolitan Agency, Brezov, and the volunteers started with a street action, actually, by informing pedestrians and proposing different workshops in the public space. Alina, can you tell us a bit more about this project?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone, again. Thank you for the opportunity of me being here in this panel. I'm very happy to share with you our experience in Foodwave. First of all, I would like to show you the short video that summarizes best how the event looked like. And after this, I'll detail the rest.
Nothing in the world that I won't do. I'll give the word to you if you want me to. I'll do anything. Nothing in the world that I won't do. I'll give the word to you if you want me to. I'll do anything. Nothing in the world that I won't do. I'll give the word to you if you want me to. I'll do anything.
Okay, I hope you are able to see it at the right quality. Now let me continue with the details. The first edition of Street Action took place on September 25 in St. John's Square, one of the central squares of Brasov, in the proximity of two main streets for over 8 hours. The target group was formed by young people between 15 and 35 years old, but given the fact that there had been many young families, the event had also some activities dedicated for toddlers and for children. During the event, Foodwave ambassadors and volunteers informed pedestrians about the Foodwave project and invited them to participate in the street actions. Beside the informing activity, they collected problems, ideas, and solutions related to the topic. And moreover, for raising awareness among passers, we had put a billboard on a cargo bike as a co-creation solution in order to have a participative brainstorming about food and climate change. Other engaging activities. Francesca, could you please move to the next slide? This was the slide dedicated. Yes, thank you. Other engaging activities were asphalt art for little kids like toddlers. We draw the big outline of several fruits and vegetables, and they colored their interior. And collaborative painting on canvas, both for young adults and children. As you can see, passers put their painted hands in Foodwave colors, and in the two pictures on the bottom of the slide, you can see also the ice hockey junior team from Fece Barcelona, who visited us that day. Next slide, please. One of the greatest attractions of the event was the anamorphic art installation put on pavement. The draw was a representative image for Foodwave concept. As you can see at the bottom side, it is asphalt broken by a green plant. Given the fact that the location of the event had been the historical center, we were not allowed to put any permanent paint on the pavement, so the solution was to print the artwork on a special material, cut in pieces similar with a puzzle, that can easily be moved for more visibility. In fact, we are planning to expose it in a local mall near the food court, of course. Those passing by took a lot of photos with the illusory paint, and also it's worth mentioning that this was the first anamorphic paint in Brasov. Last but not least, yes. We developed the concept of an unconventional parklet, which was built on a trail. The reason we did so is that Romanian legislation doesn't allow to change the destination of the parking lot. So we've decided to build the parklet on a registered trail, and after the event, it could be parked on any parking space. Inside the parklet, there had been a tasting workshop with local products where passers could taste fresh local fruits and vegetables. This was also the first parklet built in Brasov. In the evening, as you can see in the right image, we had a public screening of the Norwegian production Expired, which is a very interesting documentary on the topic of food waste at global level. Regarding the communication of the event, we had involved two of our influencers, one local and one national. We had prepared several social cards, which they posted on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Before and during the event, we displayed both online and offline the banner you can see, and young activists distributed some flyers printed on recycled paper. After the event, as I've already mentioned, we had one article published. We had one article published in two local newspapers. What we've achieved. The last slide, please. We had almost an entire day of visibility in the center of Brasov. Even we had a specific target group. We attracted a lot of people, both local and tourists, meaning over 1,000 pedestrians reach. We've managed to reach the target regarding the 60% of participants from summer-winter school. And in addition, we attracted 10 more volunteers with whom we are going to keep in touch. We had two firsts for the town, and we hope this will be like a pathfinder for the community. We had a very well-received comprehensive article published by local press. And last but not least, the advertising agency we worked with kept the food wave stickers on the parklet and found a new proper location for it in front of a cafe where we have, I think, over 1,000 targeted community members reach for each month. So this was a very short presentation about the street action that took place in Brasov in Food Wave Project. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Alina. Wonderful to hear and see new horizons. And maybe we should follow up with our next friend who came to visit from Manchester. Is it right, Carlo?
Yes. John
So
Swallow.
We welcome John Swallow. Thanks for being here. I just say a few words about Groundwork, which is, if we do not mistake, a federation of charities which mobilize practical community action on poverty and environment across the UK especially. And groundwork works across Greater Manchester to create stronger, healthier communities, responsible businesses, and greater prospects for local people. So John will present the result of 2 activities implemented within the Food Wave project, which involved several thousand people, the 2 of them. So John, please, can you tell us something more about it?
Yes, thank you. I'm John Swallow. I'm the Senior Youth Worker Lead at Groundwork in Greater Manchester. I'm a qualified youth and community worker, a qualified teacher, and a qualified social worker. So quite a bit of experience to bring to Food Wave. Food Wave is one of our favourite projects, partly because it's with our EU friends, and obviously over the past couple of years there's been quite a few changes to relationships within the EU. But just to say hello to all our friends in the EU, and nothing has changed from Groundwork's point of view. Our friends in the EU are very much our friends. So Food Wave came to us last year, and it's a partnership of Groundwork Greater Manchester, Met Munch, which is a social enterprise within the University of Manchester, and So the City, which is a local food charity. So the 3 agencies between ourselves in a partnership have developed Food Wave, and we deliver everything from the street actions to our work with underprivileged youth and the summer and winter schools. We also, part of Food Wave, have collaborated with a lot of local smaller partners, including sort of urban gardeners, local sustainable grocery stores, lots of other partners, as well as the main partnership. Our main theme for street actions has been around sustainable diets, because that was the real passion of what our Food Wave participants were really, really interested in. Many of the people involved with our summer and winter schools have been very much interested in food. They've been qualified chefs, they've been nutritionists, they've been health and fitness activists. They've come from a whole different range of backgrounds. But one thing that was most certainly consistent with all of them, they all had a passion and interest in food. So it made our work very, very easy for Food Wave. Okay, if we can just do the next slide. Our street action sort of started during the global pandemic, and the Carbon Supermarket was co-designed by our first wave of students, and it was really designed with So the City. The Carbon Supermarket is a stand-up display of a mock-up of a supermarket, and it's got all your daily goods in. And the idea is we take it out to local community venues, public-facing venues, set it up, and people can do their daily shop in a Carbon Supermarket. And when they get to the till at the end, all their groceries in their basket are calculated based on their carbon footprint. So it was designed really as an educational art installation mobile tool to help people understand the nature of the carbon footprint of their food. And that ran all last summer during 2021 and engaged hundreds and hundreds of people, mostly families, which was actually really, really, really good, because obviously children loved learning about the carbon footprint of food, handling food. The second thing we actually did with our summer winter school participants is they became very interested in actually cooking things for people. So based on some old heritage recipes, they found lots of vegetarian and vegan recipes from over 100, 150 years ago, when meat wasn't necessarily a staple part of people's diets. So they transformed these old heritage recipes into modern local recipes, and they did lots of baking in September 2021 to welcome students back to the university after obviously being away for the summer. So we've had lots of ideas developed from a co-design standpoint with students, and it's made actually all the street actions particularly interesting and enjoyable, because some of the ideas have been quite fun, and most certainly when we've come to actually deliver street actions, they've been lots of fun. The last summer winter school wanted to add to the carbon supermarket and the baking that had already been done with a low carbon pop-up restaurant. Over the sort of time of our street actions, we've very much learned as we've gone along, and the carbon supermarket sort of started with learning about the carbon footprint. The heritage baking again moved us on a step in terms of understanding that actually it's very easy, strangely, to make very sustainable food from very sustainable networks, and the heritage baking sort of proved that. And I think our next street action, which will be our third one under one theme, will actually be just to teach people how to make a low carbon or a sustainable meal. And the group are very, very excited about that. So being involved really was very important for our participants, because they've actually seen the realization of their ideas come to fruition. Obviously, the assets of our little community group that designed them were they already knew an awful lot about food. The summer and winter schools were a really, really good way to get people together, to get them to share what they already knew, add in some learning. But really, a lot of the ideas have come from people's own passions and ideas, and they were informed a little bit by the content of summer and winter school, but they weren't necessarily driven by the content of summer and winter school. But just to say, we started very early in July, and we established a steering group, and this steering group sort of is maintained all the way through our street actions. We keep everybody informed of our street actions through an emailing list. We also have a Facebook group, and we host lots of discussions and content on our Facebook group as well, because as we've moved through our summer and winter schools, we've now done 3 and we're going to do 4. So we've got 4 cohorts of summer winter school participants to involve in our street actions, which has meant that we've evolved in our understanding of what we can actually do. Our body of participants has increased every time, and the nature of ideas most certainly has evolved as we've evolved with our students. What I would say about best practice is be very clear what you want for your activists to do. What we've found is some people want to get involved in design, some people want to get involved in just meetings online, some people want to get involved in participating directly and coming to an in-person meeting. We had many people who just turned up to actually do the activity. They didn't necessarily want to design it, but they did want to be involved in it. And that was most certainly the big draw for many of our activists, wanting to actually be there. And they're the most informed group of people you could ever meet when it comes to talking about food. Obviously, we're looking at a behaviour change exercise with all our street actions. So we're always very clear on how we're going to measure how people engaged. And we also wanted to measure what impact we had. So the behaviour change of our almost contestants, if you like, the people we engaged, we really wanted to measure how we were going to change behaviour. So we asked lots of questions after people had taken part in street actions, which was pretty important, really. There is a little taste of our street actions, but apparently I can't launch the video and no one else can launch the video. But there is a link there. It's embedded in our Twitter. So it is the sort of top Twitter link if you want. And if you want to have a look at it, it's a little 30-second video. It goes through absolutely everything we did for our street actions, from the carbon supermarket to heritage baking. We also did some additional activities. We gleaned some veg from a farmer's field. We spent a day out picking cabbage and kale, filled a van up with spare cabbage and kale that a farmer didn't want, and we spent a whole day then giving it out to students, and it became the talk of the university. And what I should say, alongside all this, we do have quite a strong media backup presence. So everything that we do in public is put online so that people can follow us online. And just in terms of the carbon supermarket, there's just a little list of all the carbon footprint of our food. And people went round, filled everything into the basket, which represented their families or their personal daily shop, and the carbon till racked up the carbon footprint of the food. It's a really impactful, fun way to highlight the carbon footprint of food, which was the starting point for our street actions, but it's most certainly not the end. I think this summer is just going to be lots of cooking really, really good, healthy, sustainable and nutritious food, because that's who these food wave people are, and they're absolutely amazing. And we also include lots of fun activities just to keep participants on board, because going out gleaning, one group want to break a world record, so we might include that. So thank you, everybody. That's what Groundwork Greater Manchester did for their street actions. Still going. It's going to be a really, really busy summer. Really looking forward to it, because they're just dynamic, fun people to be with, inspirational, and I'm sure that's like absolutely every other group across the EU and our other friends in other cities, because this is a absolutely inspirational program. And thank you, Food Wave. It's been good fun so far.
Thanks to you, John. Really thanks. I mean, also the presentation was really inspirational, and it was really, really rich in information about your project. So I'm already thinking of doing a carbon footprint supermarket in Milan for the next summer. I will call you. So stay with us for a few more questions in a while. And now it's time to pass to the next in line. So we have Forme Tentative from Milan, and we have Marianna Francipane. Welcome with us.
Good afternoon.
Forme Tentative is a really new association that was selected within the call for street action that was issued by the municipality of Milan last summer, and implemented a project dealing with performing arts, ephemeral architectures, and art installation in the countryside at the periphery of the city. Marianna, do you have a presentation or a video to show us?
Yes. First of all, I would like to show you the video concerning Octagon, if it's possible, and then the presentation.
Okay. Go on.
Tutta?
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for Foodwave and the municipality of Milan for this opportunity. Good afternoon. I'm Marianna Frangipane. I'm, as Carlo said, the co-founder of the association Forme Tentative, and I'm an architect. I would like to talk about the project Chiaravalle, Pane e Paesaggio, and how we, through this Foodwave project, experiment new territorial narratives to investigate how we will live together in future cities. In particular, I would like to talk about that. I would like to tell you that the vision in which this project is part of is the idea that tackling the climate emergency means to consider it not as a problem that can be solved, but as a predicament that we have to make the best sense of. And here, as an architect, I would like to say that the central role of design is to envision new futures and discover how to live and what are the potentialities of the territory to live together in the future. Next. The two experiences that are part of Chiaravalle Pane e Paesaggio are Persephone Overland, the first one, which was a contemporary performance to celebrate the harvest in Spellfield in Chiaravalle. And the second one was Octagon, a garden in motion for the ecological transition of the city. Next. First of all, I would like to say that these two experiences are part of an ongoing process. So these two projects are considered as part of a process that is really rooted to a particular territory, which is the peri-urban territory in southeast of Milan. Here, in synergy with different actors, we are trying to carry on an interaction and research process to understand how all this territory could become an experiment concerning ecological transition. Next. So these two experiences represented the occasion to feed this process. The first one, as I said, is Persephone Overland. Here we asked to more than 200 visitors to come and live some peri-urban fields where the first pane agricolo urbano has been produced. So we asked to a musician, Roberto Cacciapaglia, and some performers to use their language from the art field to trigger new way of live this place. Next. We asked to more than 200 visitors to come in a particular moment of the morning, in the sunrise time, and to discover together what is the potentiality of this territory. Next. The second experience was Octagon. Octagon is a garden in motion made of 8 small wagons that carried more than 130 medicinal plants. The idea was to compound these 8 small wagons to trigger some different public spaces and some different encounter points and to talk together about ecological transitions. Next. We, in the construction of this garden in motion, of this small garden in motion, we involve the different communities that live in this territory, and the idea of this octagon is rooted to the shape of the ancient tower of the Chiaravalle Abbey. So the idea was to propose a contemporary interpretation of this territory. Next. These two experiences take value as experimentation. They represent for us some tentative forms that fit the process I talked about. They are forms that represent tools to trigger possible uses of the space, but at the same time, tools that strongly relate with people in order to trigger their imaginaries and to work with their desire to live in a different way these particular places. They represented some relational devices to feed their interaction process and at the same time tools to feed the best sense of design of the research process that we are trying to carrying on. Next. So these two experiences represented the occasion to feed a vision that is still ongoing, which is to consider and interpret and transform this particular part of the city of Milan as a living lab, where we can experiment together how our city could carry on a transition process. And the work here is still in progress, so keep in touch. Next. Thank you.
Thanks, Marianna. Thanks for the presentation and some poetic images and some people. And it's interesting how all of you have different landscapes somehow, but similar social setups and participation. So we move from Forme Tentative to Soul Food Forest Farm, Italia, with Alessandro.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Alessandro, hi. I just say a
Hi.
few words about Soul Food Forest Farm, but we will leave you the stage soon. Is another organization based in Milan, actually in the same area where also Forme Tentative is based. It's the southern eastern area of Milan, where you have city and huge fields abandoned. And
Yeah.
Forest Farm facilitates, I'm using the words you yourself wrote, the transition of land to biodiverse, productive, and regenerative forest farms. You work with local stakeholders and communities, and maybe you can explain what is a forest farm and how you carry on your projects and connect with people, and what did you do for a food wave?
Yes. A forest farm for us is a place, a land that is created with a farmer and that engage the community and work with regenerative agroforestry. That is a practice that connects agriculture, so food production, to forestry. And so we have other forest products as like timber or fungi or other kind of product that can be that can sustain what is a regenerative approach to the land. So we reduce erosion, and we increase the organic matter in the soil, and so we produce a lot of so-called ecosystem services for the well-being of the community and the future generation. So yes, our organization, as you said, Lucrezia, is a local hub. So work locally in a region. So we work with a specific culture and with a specific pedoclimatic condition. So we can really focus on this process, this aim that we have. We have the presentation. Yes, this is our street action for Food Wave project, and it's in collaboration, as you can see, with a lot of associations that are present in the neighbor where we act. And so this, I think, it's a very the most strong point of our action is really the network that we reach and engagement on other organizations that are focused on the similar aspect on sustainability in general, but also social issues in the place. Yes, in the place where we act now. Yes, this is the district, is a Corvetto district. So it's a very densely urbanized area. But as you will see in the next slide, it's really connected to lands and to one of the biggest agricultural place of Europe, that is the Parco Agricolo. It's an agricultural park. This is the first activity that we have done with the Food Wave Street Action. That is a Festa di Via. It's like a party on the road. We place 1,000 plants on the road, and we engage all that associations to participate and to create like a collective, let's say, show on the street to engage the people that are there, that live, i passanti, pedestrians, and to move the consciousness of the people and the thing was to let the people, the participants, to adopt one of these plants and to take care for 1 month at their home. Next. So these are some images of the day. Okay. Next. So the next. These images are of the passeggiata. That is the second. Okay, can stop. The passeggiata was a walk, a collective walk that have the aim, starting from the city, starting from the neighbor, to let the participant understand how really close are these fields, and so to cross what is known, no? Because these lands are most of the time abandoned, so the people don't visit, don't cross the line of the urban buildings, and don't go through the fields, and so it's like a walk that it's a discovering walking, where the people brings their plants to the fields, and the last action was to plant these forestry plants in the agroforestry system that we are implementing in our pioneer farm here in Milano, that is more than that now counts on more than 12,000 trees planted, with fruit trees, with berries and vegetables. So you can go next picture. So this was the planting day. Was very well participated with children. Now here we were planting an hedge, and there were also an incursion by students and researchers from Accademia di Belle Arti di Brera, who make some performances in the agroforestry. Here you can see the trees that are growing. And these are just some other picture about what we are doing. This is a top view of the second hectare we are planted, with more than 10,000 trees. And okay, next. These are a winter. The last winter is an image just to show you the sides of the project, because counts of hundreds of volunteers engaged and thousands of plants planted, and we are really next to the center, the city center, and especially Corvetto district. So as yes, this is the picture of the agroforestry itself. 2 years old. You can see some apple trees on the low layer, on the medium layer, and the most grown trees are poplar, and on the low layer, the lowest layer is Sambucus. I don't know in English, sorry, it's Sambucus nigra, but anyway, it's a typical plant and that produce berries. So this is for us is a way really to experiment a new way of farming and let the people be conscious of how we can grow food to create and to recreate an ecosystem, a real ecosystem that can face the future risk and problems that we have with climate change and all the things that all of you I think already know. Okay, and yes, this is the last phrase, the last phrase that.
Thanks a lot, Alessandro.
Thank you.
Stay with us because in just after the next presentation, we will have a follow-up with the round of questions by the public that is following us on Facebook and YouTube and from us, let's say. So next one in line is Cinema Ambiente. We have Lia Fuzzi.
Hi.
Welcome. Cinema Ambiente was founded in Turin in 1998 to create an international showcase for outstanding films and documentaries dealing with environmental questions and to all the events promoting cinema and environmental culture throughout the year. We know that this year you started a collaboration with Foodwave. We also saw some films that were streamed in direct between Turin and Milan. So I invite you now to tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us. Well, Cinema Ambiente, as you said, it's an environmental film festival, and we will be in the 25th edition in the 2022. And last year, we have invited by the municipality of Torino, the city where we are, to join the Foodwave project. And we were really happy because food waste, climate change, and all these topics are really the topic we have worked all these years. And so the edition in 2021 was in October, and we have prepared a sort of panorama of films for the Foodwave project. And we have, the main event was in the opening evening of the festival, because we have selected for the international competition of the festival a French film that is Animal by Cyril Dion, and we have invited in Torino the two younger protagonists of the film that are Bella Lack and Vipulan Puvanesvaran. That these two young guys, one from England and one from France, they have traveled the world for more than 1 year together with the filmmaker, meeting scientists and activists in order to find a way of living as a human more as a cohabitants rather than predators with all the other species that share the earth with us. So we organized the Q&A during the showing of the film in live streaming with Milan, where there was had the pre-COP summit, all for climate youth, just before the Glasgow COP. So it was really interesting and inspiring for the audience to know and listen to the story that Bella and Vipuland told us in the theater about all these quests that they have done for 1.5 years during their life. And all the other films we have presented during the 5 days of the festival were all presented by some experts, scientists, and activists, and explain to the audience this really strong and sometimes really dramatic connection between climate change and the production of foods. We had this beautiful film from Mali that was The Ants and the Grasshopper, and another one about the growing the culture of foods that is really affected by climate change. But it was great. It was great for the audience to knowing all these stories we have presented through films, and also for young people, it's an easy access festival because Cinema Ambiente is free. The entrance is free, so also for young people, it's more easy to come to see a film. And we are working already for the next edition, because last year we were in October for the sanitary condition of Italy, but usually Cinema Ambiente is at the beginning of June, and we are right now preparing great action for the Food Wave project incoming, because we are convinced that cinema is a really strong medium to spread environmental consciousness to the public. Because really, when you are in the theater and you are focused on the screen and you are watching stories of people that really surrounds you, and you feel more connected with all what's happening in the world. So, I mean, that's it.
Thank you so much, Leah. Fantastic to hear from you as well. Okay, we thought about saying goodbye by being all of us on the screen. And we have maybe a few more questions for you guys, although we have very few time. But what do you think, Carlo? Shall we
Yeah, we have.
With the questions from the public?
Yes, I would say so. But anyway, I mean, we have more or less a quarter. We can be 5 minutes late. So let's start. Okay. So we start with Ariel. And, no, sorry. The question from the public. We have two questions from the public for John Swallow. And the first one is if it's possible to get the recipe, the bakery recipe, and where online.
I will find out where they all are. There was more than one recipe. It was a number of experimental baking sessions at the university. So we came up with a number of recipes, and they were all vegan or vegetarian meals. The difference with these is some of the ingredients were substituted for more locally sourced ingredients, so the actual food became very sustainable. It was all locally sourced, it was all vegetarian. So I will find the recipes and make sure they're online. There's a wonderful Manchester potato and butter pie, and it's really, really good. I didn't bake it. I wish I had. One of the Food Wave participants is a chef, and he made the butter pie, and it was really good. But it was vegetarian potato and butter pie. There was some fruit pies, and there was some bread. The bread was really interesting. It was called peasant bread. So it was baked quite a number of years ago for people to take who had very little money. So we recreated that recipe. So I'll get the recipes and get them put online, of course, because they're great. I hope that answers the question.
The next question was also a kind of boutade. They were asking you if you know if this experiment, this project changed your diet somehow, if you changed the way you eat. But that can be also a question that can be extended to many of you participants of today. So how this processes and project impacted your own practice and your own daily life?
I'm sure lots of people have other examples of impact, but we were pretty clear to measure the impact of what we'd done with members of the public. But for myself, I hadn't realised the carbon footprint of dairy products, particularly milk. I love milk and I love cheese and other dairy products, but I hadn't realised until I came to do the carbon supermarket that dairy products were really high in terms of their carbon footprint, and it made me give up milk. I drink plant-based milk now, and I still drink lots of plant-based milk, but I drink plant-based milk because it just, other than meat, it had the highest carbon footprint of any of the foods, and it was a real revelation for me and lots of families who attended our carbon supermarket. It was a really good, fun learning experience for me, the participants, and the public.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So we have really short time to do questions. So I will go on to the next one. So Ariel, I want you to tell us a bit more about how did you measure the response of the target of your digital media campaign?
So we've been just measuring number of accounts reached. So we have reached over 100,000 accounts on Instagram to date. So our actual account is quite small, but in terms of reach, it's been, I would say, quite big. So we're just hoping to kind of continue on with that, and obviously just get more engagement and, you know, hopefully do more collaborations with other partners and things like that to build it out. And then in terms of the actual designers themselves, sort of kind of qualitative interviews and questionnaires to see, you know, how it was before and after. You know, as Navpreet, we saw the video from her, you know, she's saying she thinks a lot more about, you know, wasting food and, you know, cleaning up like everything on her plate and things like that, because she sort of knows the impacts of that, that loss and that waste.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay,
Leah.
thanks. We go on with Leah. Alina, actually from Brasov.
Yeah. Yeah.
We thought about asking you, how was the reaction of the citizens of the city when they found themselves participating to your actions?
Well, the event, it was very well received. We had a very good engagement on the anamorphing anamorphic art installation. The public took a lot of pictures there, and I think this was our top priority in the event. And the second one was the parklet, which, as I told you, is now located in the historic center of Brasov, and people can enjoy it continuously or something like this.
Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Next one, Marianna. We would like to know how did you succeed in creating the community around your different projects?
Okay, actually creating a community is something really, we cannot do it with two experiences. It's something that it's process oriented. So what I would like to say is that these two experiences asked some people to be involved in the exploration of the potentiality of these places and somehow worked with the imaginaries of people and with the ability of people to directly construct something and to be part of something. To be part of something, yes, to be part of the process. So I don't know, like we cannot speak about really a community, but a temporary community that is part of an ongoing process that would like to carry on some modification in this territory.
Thanks, Marianna. We follow up with Alessandro. You presented a very complex project in a very simple way. And the question maybe is, how long did it take to really take this land? As you show, it is placed in a very highly inhabited part of the city. So, which means it was abandoned, there is maybe pollution. How did you receive the land, and how much time did it take to really make something out of it and to build up the community?
But the land we have since the 2017, so it's 5 years that we are trying to do this. But in reality, the first 2 years we didn't we were not able to engage the community because the project was more simple, based on cereal cultivation. So we would like then to move on agroforestry because of our passion and our interest, but also because having permanent trees, having permanent culture, and trees is something that grow very slow, and so it's as Marianna said, it's a process, and it's a slow process, and it's really we are not after 5 years we feel that we are starting from zero. But what is good is that the trees are growing, and each year we see very material result that is persistent. So this is something that we feel very encouraging to go on.
Okay, thanks. And the last question for Leah. I wonder if you're considering about moving your screening in the public space, as Food Wave is public space oriented, let's say.
Yes, I mean, we do not only screen film in theater. we organize also outdoor screening, but just one a day because we need the no light. So we have organized screen also in the park in Torino, and I mean, Cinema Ambiente during the year, all year round, organizes other events, just because really our aim is to spread environmental awareness in the public. So yes, in the next edition, we will do things also outdoor, just to reach more people.
Wonderful. Carlo, I think we should leave the stage to the next panel. We thank you all. It was fantastic.
Thanks a lot, really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And best of
And
luck
for the next stage,
future events.
Thank you, Carlo and Lucrezia. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm saying goodbye to all the speakers
Thank you.
involved to introduce the new panel. I present myself first of all. My name is Francesca, and I have been quoted sometimes during this live streaming because I was also in charge for the presentation. So all the troubles you experienced are all my fault. So you can give a face to the technical problems you had during this live streaming. But let's pass it on, because after this interesting conversation with all the voices from the food wave community across the countries involved by the project, we are here, and I'm here with Veronica Vismara from Accra and Marco Trulli, who is the curator that BJHM chose for our contest in the food wave project, to present some of the main opportunities that the food wave project will offer to young people across Europe and Brazil in 2022. So I immediately leave the floor to Veronica, who will present the fora that Accra will present and promote this year. And so, Veronica, the floor is yours, and I'll be back later to present together with Marco.
Thank you so much, Francesca. It really has been a super interesting session. And I would say that the main topic here was activation and engagement. And what a better way to move on to the international fora than to start with the idea of engagement. Let me introduce briefly myself. My name is Veronica. I work for Accra, as Francesca said, and Accra is an NGO, is of course a partner in the Food Wave project. And we are currently coordinating the engagement pillar. So again, engagement and activation. Accra is an NGO based in Milan that has been working for more than 50 years for the access to human rights, such as education, health, water, food, but also for the protection of the environment, of course, and for gender equality in Italy, Africa, and Latin America. So a very broad scope. But back to the main topic of the session is the international fora, which will be actually one of the main opportunities that the Food Wave project will give as a networking opportunity to the network in the upcoming years, not only 2022, but also 2023. The international fora are designed as an opportunity for networking and critical discussion on, of course, the topics of food, climate, and the role of urban environment. They are a space where especially young people between 18 and 35 years old can actively engage, get to know each other, and map grassroots organizations, initiatives, and experiences that work for sustainable food systems and for climate activism. They can exchange opinions, ideas, experiences, and also meet something new or someone new from other countries, because this is the main idea behind create a networking space between the different countries that are part of this project, not only in Europe, as we've heard, but also in Brazil. These international fora, apart from networking and critical discussion, want also to build a positive discourse on youth climate activism. They want to enhance concrete experiences that come again from the grassroots. So what are young people doing in cities? What are young people doing in urban environments to build sustainable food systems? What experiences are out there? How can we connect? How can we learn from each other? And also what different challenges and opportunities we have, because when we talk about food sustainability and food sovereignty in so many different countries and so many different communities, we will have different backgrounds. So the idea is to exchange those backgrounds, those initiatives, those virtuous projects, and really learn from each other. What has been our first experience with the International Fora, it actually happened on the 23rd of October of last year, of course, online. As you can imagine, at the moment, the main, let's say, communication and engagement platform for international events is online. But we will see during this coordination meeting that not only, but for what regards the 23rd of October, the International Forum took place on Zoom as a platform, and the title was Food Wave in Action, Enhancing the Impact of Youth Climate Activism. It was really interesting because people had the chance to hear experiences from Italy, the UK, Portugal, Romania, the Netherlands, and they actually discussed in working groups. These working groups were mainly on the topics of social and solidarity economy, human rights to water, food, and work, the role of education and the access to information in the fight for climate injustice, and sustainable food systems. So as you can see here, we find once again very known topics and themes within the Food Wave projects, but it was interesting because they were declined in the experiences of the participants. We've worked in different working groups and we discussed together in the plenary session as well. And at the end, we brought together more than 40 people that were able to bring together their own perspectives. The forum was also organized in collaboration with the Eating City workshop that was taking place in Cres, Croatia, during the same days, and their topic was gender equality and resilient food systems. So it was really, once again, inspiring to see another point of view on food sustainability and food sovereignty with this theme of gender equality within it. For what concerns the future, because here we're talking about future opportunities, of course, the International Fora will take place during 2022 and 2023. We're looking ahead at 3 new fora, and the participants will be, of course, gathered, let's say, from the work of the partners, from the work of the subgrantees, and from all of those organizations, NGOs, CSOs that sort of got in touch with the Food Wave project. For example, thanks to the amazing street actions that we've just heard from in the past panel. What will be also a new connection will be done through the Ambassador Network. But on these, actually, I think that I will leave the floor back to Francesca because she will actually talk about the Ambassador Exchange. In the first edition, ambassadors were involved as participants. So let's see how the 2 strategies will be combined in the future. It will be, I'm sure, filled with new opportunities for exchange and learning environment. So thank you, Francesca, and I pass the ball back to you.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your presentation. And I'm going to also share a presentation on our opportunity. When I say our, I say ActionAid Italy, who is a partner of the Food Wave project, such as ACRA and Manitese, the 3 NGOs involved as pillar coordinators. in particular, ActionAid coordinates the communication and digital campaign connected to the Food Wave project. And in the framework of this campaign, ActionAid is working to build an international Food Wave ambassador network. So, who are the Food Wave ambassadors? We already have more than 100 young people coming from different countries across the Food Wave consortium and also outside the consortium. So we can say across and all around the world, who accepted to be multipliers because they are interested in the food climate nexus, and are interested in being let's say, ambassadors or a spokesperson for the Food Wave project. In this slide, you can see that at the URL foodwave.eu meet the waivers, you can already have a look at the young people who already joined our network. What do you have to do to become a Food Wave ambassador? Actually, it's really easy. You need to be interested in the project topics. You need to be a young people from 15 to 35 years old, and that's it. You just have to fill this online form I'm showing on the Food Wave website to join an international online network of ambassadors who will be who will share ideas and thoughts across the whole project duration. So at the foodwave.eu join the wave, you can find this simple form that can be filled in less than 5 minutes to join our network. And it's the best period to join this network because on February 28, we are going to have our first ambassadors exchange forum. So our first online event, a sort of meetup. It's going to be the first one, unfortunately online, but actually still it's going to be an occasion to share thoughts, idea, also to make games and know each other, and so the forum is going to be open only to the Food Wave ambassador. So that's why I was saying that it's the right time to be involved, because you will be able to participate in this meetup and also share with us your needs and interests. So we will be able to develop an online activities program designed on your needs and around the food climate nexus, which also will be connected to the program that Veronica illustrated before. So the fora will be also open to the ambassadors, and we will have a lot of occasion of sharing that we will promote across the project in the next project years. I only want to say one last thing. We are also implementing a private online area dedicated to the Food Wave ambassador. It's going to be called the Ambassador Cafe, where all the young people who join the network will be able to, of course, share ideas, discuss or know each other, but also will be involved in online action or creation of contents for our digital campaign. So I guess that's all for by my side, and I also want to introduce Marco, who is next in line, because he's going to present, I would say, a fabulous opportunity that we are going to promote, a call that we are going to promote within our project this year. It is an artistic call, so of course it's going to be open to the Food Wave ambassadors, but not only. Marco will say a little more about it, and I leave the floor to Marco to describe the call.
Thank you, Francesca. Thanks a lot for the presentation. As you said, I'm Marco Trulli, and I'm going to present you the call for artists planned into the frame of the Food Wave project. I'm sharing the website of BJCM, that is a partner of Food Wave project that will promote this call for artists. I'm a curator, and I created several public art projects focusing on the role of art in the landscape and territory. BJCM, Association Internationale pour la Biennale des Jeunes Créateurs d'Europe et de la Méditerranée, asked me to conceive the call and to curate the exhibition. The call aims to select 15 artists under 35 years from different countries of Europe and Mediterranean area that will participate to a group exhibition in Turin next October. And the exhibition will focus on the relationship between food and landscape, in order to define a series of reflection on how the way of food production transforms the landscape of the Mediterranean area, and how through radical choices we can choose to preserve the territory through solidarity and sustainable forms of production. But in these last years, food has also been at the center of a narrative that has accentuated its exclusivity, separating food itself from the convivial rituality of its social practice, as the anthropologist Franco Lacecla wrote. So if eating is a social fact, and it is when it is a convivial ritual that contributes to defining people's identity and culture. And food is also a landscape of images and places, because every food is a landscape. Taking care of the relationship between food and places means taking care of biodiversity, taking care of multi-species relations, experimenting with the connective and empathic modalities between men and the environment. Evolutionary studies tell us that protecting biodiversity, protecting biodiversity is a choice that helps to maintain ecosystems, and that where there is more biodiversity, there is cultural, ethnic, linguistic, and biological diversity. So the global attention to these issues that is spreading as we witness the effects of the Anthropocene, climate change, desertification, deforestation, pollution, is not a form of nostalgia for something we are losing, but as Donna Haraway says, it is a way of staying with the troubles. For this reason, the exhibition aims to map new connective and empathic practices, trying to build a new representation, to invent new possibilities of coexistence. The call will select 13 artists for the exhibition, and two for two short residencies that will end with a public event through actions, installation, temporary happenings in public spaces. The call will select artists working the visual arts, so performance, installation, painting, video, architecture, sculpture, who have investigated these issues on a territorial level through relational community participatory projects. So who is interested can from the end of March apply to the call by visiting the websites of BJCM and Foodwave project, of course. That's all. Thanks for your attention. Thank you, Francesca.
Thank you, Marco, for your super explanation and for sharing with us all the details of the goal, which is going to be published within the end of March. So just we are going to keep you posted and have a look at our website and social media to be informed. We only have 5 last minutes, and I want to introduce to you Veronica, who has always been with us and listening to us, but in the background because she is a graphic visual facilitator, and she designed a map of all the things we shared in this session. So Veronica, maybe you can share our screen with us so we can watch together your amazing work. Okay. So Veronica synthesized all the experiences that we went through in the first part of our webinar or of our public program session this evening, highlighting all the main concepts shared. I love this kind of graphic design really, because it's so effective. And Veronica, I would like to be good as you. I can't even design sketch a table or an apple. So thank you for sharing this amazing work with us. And yeah, this postcard is going to be published on the Foodwave social media. So if you want to have a map and a brief summary of what we said today, Veronica did this for us, and thank you so much for being with us in the background, but working a lot.
Thank you.
So I think it's time to say hello to all of you and to go off for a beer, dinner, or whatever this evening may reserve to you. So thank you from my side for being with us this evening, and see you tomorrow for 2 more public program session of our coordination meeting planned for 4 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. So the sessions are going to be focused, the first one on policy, and policymakers will intervene from the Milan Food Policy, the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact, and from C40, the International Network of Mayors for Climate Change. And also we are going to have at 5:30 p.m. a session involving the Ministry of Ecological Transition, the Italian Ministry of Ecological Transition, and the UN Global SDGs campaign, featuring also the journalist Emanuele Bompan, who will coordinate the session. So be with us also tomorrow. And for tonight, that's all. Thank you, Veronica, Marco, and Veronica. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.